Good evening to Live News and Demo News every Wednesday at 8 o'clock. I've got a host of guests tonight. I've got Sharon Bingsey up from up north. She's a children's campaigner. She also follows the Freedom Marches. She was in London Saturday. Also, she won a case last week in court regarding I think it was something to do with protesting. So I've also got John Lawrence on. He'll be discussing the case as well, what happened to Sharon. And a bit later on, we'll be talking about with John, Dion and Joe regarding the Gurkhas in London. Now, first of all, there's a few demos on at the weekend. We've got Manchester is still on, by the way, folks. It is still on. Voice of Wales pulled out because Dan has got kidney stones and he'll be in hospital, so he can't make it. And Stan is feeling a little bit ill as well, so they won't be going. But John Lawrence still wants it to go ahead, and a lot of other people have booked hotels and trains, so they'll still be going. So Manchester is still on Saturday at 12 o'clock outside the BBC. So please make your way there. If you're closer to London, we've got the Gurkhas on as well at 12 o'clock. I think it's at the Cenotaph in London as well, folks. So if you can make that. And Sunday, there's a big one. It's going to be Speaker's Corner regarding the stabbing of a Christian preacher. She was stabbed by a Muslim, basically, on last week. So first of all, I'm going to bring Sharon on. We're going to talk about London, and we'll talk about Bristol, Cardiff, even Leeds, because Leeds had a good day as well. So I'll bring Sharon on now. Evening, Sharon. How are you?
How you, Bill? You all right? Hello, people. Hope everybody's well.
Yeah, nice seeing you again. How did it go in London then, Sharon?
It was a bit different experience for me this time because I stayed put. I'm usually darting up and down, you know, because but it was more static. It was in Trafalgar Square. They had the big screen up. There were lots of speakers, and it was really interesting. I had a front row seat because I was in, obviously, with the press lot. Yeah, it was good. The vibe was good with everybody. And I didn't actually realise, when you're looking out, you can see that there are an awful lot of people there. But when you're actually watching them leave, heading towards Downing Street, the amount of people that filtered off before it even looked like anybody had left the square. And they just kept going and going and going. And by the time I'd left with kind of the back end of everybody, we got a phone call from somebody that was in Brixton that just kept walking. Masses
That's
of
a long walk.
But yeah, so that's how far ahead they were of where we were. But as we as the end of the crowd moved on, the police lined the vans along the length of the road, the width of the road, and then I guess moved down towards Parliament. And I think there was a little bit of disruption down there with, they had all the helmets and things, and I think the footage that I saw, but we got down there and there was people still kind of singing and dancing, so we left at that point. And I guess they wait for the stragglers so they get the photo opportunities, don't they? We know how they operate.
Yeah, we've been watching it a long time, and we've been going to demos for a long time. The police aren't really very nice people.
We've been sidetracked and headed off, and we know the dirty tactics. So
yeah,
but when there's a crowd like that, there's too many of us.
Yeah, it's a lot of distractions. A lot of people weren't happy about it being London, obviously, again, and big protests and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, the way I look at it, we've got 6 weeks now to try to organise a network. It doesn't matter what type of demo it is. You should just go there and just network and prepare for the worst in September, because we can't do any more of these people protests anymore after that.
There was one of the guys that was speaking there, and I can't remember his name. But he was talking about the bloodline families and the banking system, and he's got a demo on the 7th of August. He was asking for as many people to turn up in London as possible on the 7th of August. I'm assuming around Parliament. I don't know whether we've got something to hand over, or but that's the 7th of August. It is on my video. I know there's like over 4 hours footage from Saturday, because I started a little bit early, because you know the guys that you were speaking to, the Nigerians that are campaigning against the Christian genocide, child trafficking and everything. I had a bit of chat with them first, but then I don't know if you could hear anything because the drumming was so loud, and they're just all, you know. So I was speaking to people, but so I started a little bit early on the live, so there is a lot of footage to go through, but yeah, there was some good speakers, so it's worth a look if anybody. I mean, you can always fast forward, can't you, when it's on a video? If you don't like that speaker, just move it on a bit. But
well, I went to Bristol, I did, and that was an interesting one. We ended up outside the BBC. There was no plan of any speakers, and Joseph Blair decided to get up and grab somebody's microphone and started speaking. So he did a bit of a speech off his own back. He got a real loud applause, liked me for it. And then we marched on to the police station. But on the way, we had a motorbike that come through our crowd. And we could see they were youngsters. So we tried to stop. Ed, a friend of mine, he actually hit the front of the bike with a walking stick. And the police actually tried to grab hold of the bike, because it was obviously stolen. Right. They couldn't have been any more than 15 or 16. The police tried to grab hold of the bike, but they got away. But I did manage to get the footage and that. So it was an interesting one. It was really absolutely interesting.
You just go along thinking that you're going to record the event, and then something like that happens, and it's like
yeah, I got the number plate. That was the main thing. Cardiff, mind, they actually. They walked the streets of Cardiff, which they had about 2,000 people, which is brilliant. So it looks like Wales is waking up now, finally. And by the way, the only reason I didn't go to Wales, folks, was because I was at a surprise birthday party on Friday night, and the nearest one was Bristol. And I do a lot of traveling, so I thought I'd go to the Bristol one. And yeah.
And at the end of the day, Phil, you don't have to explain yourself.
I'm just explaining that because otherwise I'll get slated. But yeah,
boo to them who slate you for it wherever you go, because you know it's relevant wherever you are, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, Cardiff done really well. They had the numbers. They actually ended up going to Drakeford's house, the Welsh minister's house. So I'm sure he's going to start panicking now, Mr. Drakeford, because obviously everybody knows where he lives.
You know what though? Do you know when my local MP was on the list of MPs who voted for the mandatory vaccine for the care workers, and I just thought the 650 of them, that's 650 addresses that we could arrange big enough groups to protest outside, direct protests for these people that are making decisions on our lives and our families and terrorizing their minds for months after month after month, till families are torn apart because, you know, you can't come because you're not jabbed. Sorry, but when did we stop being family? Because what have they actually done to you? And it's that psychological warfare that they don't even know they're entered into. They've just gone along with it and going, yeah, fine, next. What? I know it's surround sound with them, isn't it? It's everywhere you look, every radio station, I don't watch TV, but I do have the radio on sometimes, and I have to turn it down because between songs.
Yeah.
I just can't. I can't. It really just. It's like that nails down the chalkboard, and I hope a lot more people feel that way and are going, do you know what? I am standing up for myself now, and I'm saying no. Because when we all say no, it's over.
I was actually shocked with the amount of people that turned out in Wales. I was proud to be Welsh. I mean, watching some of the footage and that, So many people have started to wake up, and they're going against obviously the narrative of the government. We all know that this is just all communist. They're just acting all communist. And Wales is worse than England, and it is worse than England. We've got a leader who actually he's happy for the pubs to open, but not serve any alcohol and stuff like that. He did that before Christmas. But the thing is, his son is a violent rapist who's serving 8 years in prison, and we've got him running our country. So I'm glad to see people waking up.
It shows the levels, though, doesn't it? When people start to wake up, they take more notice of things like that. They take more. Whereas in the past, they may have gone, "Oh, that must be rubbish." It surely wouldn't be in that job if that was true. And so, but when you actually witness, I mean, we're actually witnessing a war, a psychological war, and a lot of people are asleep through it, and they're gonna go, "What happened?" Because that surely must be the way. When if you ever wondered what it felt like in World War II with how did the Nazis get into a position that they got into to get the regular people to turn on each other just because of a religious view or from the propaganda that they were feeding them. It's now, you know, and which side have you taken? You know, have you turned on the people that you love because you've been brainwashed into it?
Yeah, definitely. I totally agree with you with that. If everybody that's watching now, because there's some people watching on my profile on Live News and Demo News. If you're watching on a different group to Live News and Demo News page, I won't be able to see your comments. So if you could please jump on the page or jump on Demo Welshman on YouTube, I'll be able to see all your comments and I'll be able to put them up, and we will be able to answer them as well, folks. So please do that. Yeah, did you hear about Leeds Mind?
Somebody put a comment up while I was doing the live feed in London to say that they brought the police horses in.
Yeah, it kicked off up in Leeds, as far as I could see. They brought the batons out and everything up there. So amazing. Do you mean at least the people are starting to stand up, but they shouldn't be raising the baton, should they? Drakeford. Yeah. So right. Could you, before I bring John on, I'd like you to tell your story. What happened to you about the arrest on that protest, please?
Yeah. Do you want me to go back to the beginning of, because the first demo I attended was in Sunderland in 2017. And it was for Chelsea, who had been raped, and the CPS weren't taking it to court. She wasn't getting any justice. And then that led to me meeting certain people who were speaking out at that time about the grooming gangs and things like that. And the Manchester bombing happened. So that led me to me speaking about these things in the office with my colleagues, who then turned on me, got me sacked, basically. So I attended the while I was they suspended me. Firstly, I mean, I attended my first demo in the June. I was suspended from work by the August. I stayed away from Facebook and everything else until they sacked me in the December, and then I thought, sod it. Do you know what I mean? I went to a demo, the Veterans demo in Newcastle in February, met the football lads there. They've said they were going to Manchester for the Remembrance march, and by that time the football lads had split into two groups because they were the FLA was created following the Manchester bombing, and that was the massive demo that all the football lads came together on the streets of Manchester, and I didn't go to that because I was at work, but it was, I saw potentially a brilliant start to something where they could coordinate around the country to protect our own, because we were slowly realizing that our own weren't being protected. The girls were getting raped and everything else. So there was a lot of anger around that time as well. But in that time, I got sacked, and then I had a court case on a personal issue to do with grooming as a child. And the Remembrance March, there was two organised. There was one on the 19th of May and another one on, I think, the 6th of June. And I'd booked on the train to go on to the 19th of May, and I thought it was 2 weeks after the finish of the trial that I was involved with. So I'd arranged to meet somebody that I'd met at the Veterans Demo in Manchester. He didn't meet me at the station. I'd walked down to the pub. John Lawrence and Red Pill Phil, who I met at the second demo I went to in Sunderland for the same girl. From being at the first demo and going to the second demo, Phil had the debate with the woman about racism and things like that at the Manchester demo. He'd then come along to Sunderland for that demo with Peter Sweden, who was videoing the demos at that time. And so that's how I met Phil. So in Manchester, when they were stood there and I said, oh, you know, can I tag along with you guys? And they were going down to the square to see what was going on down there. I just tagged along, and we got stopped by the police when we got to the square because they'd apparently been watching the live feeds, whether it was John's, I think it might have been John's. So they stopped us at the square and they were challenging the guys, saying that they couldn't go talk to the Stand Up for Racism about why they were counter-protesting a remembrance march for 22 people that were killed at a concert. So I was a bystander at that time. I wasn't involved with any groups or anything. So I was watching what was going on. They were arguing with the police or whatever. But I got stopped. I was leaving when the woman officer explained to me what Section 35 was. I said that I was going to leave the square and go back to the pub. As I was doing that, PC Rigby stopped me and said he wanted my name and address. I refused to give it because I was already leaving. And I understood by that point that unless you disperse, you'll get a section that I was dispersing. So I didn't want to be stuck on the outskirts of Manchester on my own, not knowing where I was, wait until 6 o'clock till I could get my train back. So I was heading off. So when I turned to walk away, he grabbed my arm. I pulled away. He came after me and grabbed my wrist. When I asked him why I was twisting it, he then said, right, I'm just going to arrest you, and got his buddy to take me off to the van. When we got in the van, I was asking him what was going on. And I said, what's this, a police state? He went, yeah, you'll do as you're told. Right. I thought, I'm a 48-year-old woman. I was at that point. You're not telling me do as I'm told. Well, I haven't done anything wrong. Do you know what I mean? So
I said you're looking good for 48.
Oh, well, I'm 51 now, but back then I was 48. So I said, I'm going to video you. So he said, do what you want. So I got my phone out and I started recording it. And of course, anybody that's seen that will know that. But when I asked him why I was being arrested, I was talking over him because he kept asking for my name. So when I asked if he was following his oath, because I didn't know what else to say, basically, I knew very little about it myself, but it was just a get out for me. I was like, I'll try anything at this point. So when I did that, he lunged for my phone. Well, by the time PC O'Connell comes out of his van seat, driver's seat, he's got the body cam on. So when he opens the door, Rigby, because when he lunged for my phone, I put it behind my back. So when he's got me up against the van and I've got my hand behind my back like that, well, he's got his hands across my neck. So I get to my phone in my other hand. They cuff this one, and that's what you see in that video. They've cuffed that one. I'm just trying to shove my phone down the front of my trousers. At one point, they got my arm free, and I pulled it back and managed to pick my phone up and got it down the front of my trousers. But while I was doing that, he kneed me in the head. So anyway, he punched me in the back twice. Apparently, they're distraction strikes to try free my hand. But Anyway, in court, he was
Hang on a second. Hang on a second. I'll bring John on now. But when I bring John on, I'll start playing the video as well. Okay. So I'll bring John on. This is John Lawrence, folks. John, good evening, John. What I'm gonna do now, I'm gonna play that video. I hope it's not too traumatizing for Sharon.
I don't have the volume on loud. You know, the screaming was excessive, but I was trying to get outside the tension. Let me just say.
All right. I'll see if it'll start now. I'm hoping it will. Come on, you bugger. Come on. Right. No, I can't share it at the moment. I'll have to wait till my Wi-Fi picks up a bit more. So yeah, if you can carry on, Sharon, I'll try and get it to play in a bit.
Well, I think I shared it, and John, I think you shared it, didn't you, John? But yeah, kind of his body cam shows that they're trying to get my well, he wanted my phone basically, and since I hadn't done anything wrong, I didn't see why I should give him my phone, even though he claimed he'd arrested me. And his statement was just full of lies. As he got out the van, he says, well, he went to shut the door and then he opened it again, said to O'Connell, assault ×2, and shut the door, meaning they then put a report into the station that I was getting done for assaulting 2 officers. That's what I'd been arrested for. So, but actually, what he was telling me was I was getting a Section 35. He didn't know the law. So the judge really didn't want to rule in my favour, because they don't, do they? They're all part of that system. So the fact that he didn't understand that for a Section 35, you don't actually need somebody's name and address. You can just issue them a Section 35. He was claiming that he was arresting me on a Section 50. But for a Section 50, I would have had to have been involved in antisocial behaviour previously or at that time. So they'd gone through the CCTV footage for that day. The desk sergeant must have asked for it to see if the Section 50 was going to stand up, to see if I had engaged in any antisocial behaviour, which of course I hadn't. So the Section 50, that's why when I got released and they told me I was getting done for assault rather than Section 50, I was a bit confused, but I now understand why. So he didn't know the law. So when he grabbed hold of me, it wasn't lawful, because he was grabbing hold of me for my name and address. And when he had his disciplinary, they kind of spoon fed him what he needed to say, and he was just saying yes and no to it. But unfortunately for him, when he said everything that happened was because she didn't give you the name and address, and he said yes, well, he can't just grab hold of me and try to arrest me just because I won't give my name and address when I haven't committed a crime.
Yeah.
But the judge did say that the use of force was appropriate, considering I was being so difficult, had I committed a crime. Not considering that I didn't commit a crime, I should have just maybe been a bit more responsive. But why should I when I haven't committed a crime? We have to stand up for ourselves. And I'm sorry, but I'm not going to be arrested for nothing. And he couldn't even explain. If he'd explained why I was arrested on the street. When I was in the van saying, so why have I been arrested? He said, you don't have to have done anything. He clearly didn't know why he'd arrested me, because we would have said, I've explained it to you, but he clearly hadn't. So he and his fellow officer are just 2 of Greater Manchester Police, willing to lie on oath, willing to collude with each other in order for an innocent person to get hauled into court for assault, which was thrown out. They actually knew they weren't going ahead with that case the night before, but they still let me go to Manchester and turn up before getting into the court building and then being told, sorry, it's not going ahead because there was no evidence. So that was a waste of my time.
I heard on the video that he was going for 2 arrests. He said, oh, that's 2 arrests.
Assault
Yeah, that's it.
Assault
Yeah.
times. Yeah, because they tried to. Like when I was in the police station as well, and I got the duty solicitor, she showed me one photo of one person's hand with a scrub on the back, and I said, "Well, he must have done that reaching through, trying to pull my arm back." In court, they had pictures of both of their hands, and one of them had a big scrub down it. And I thought I would have been shown that photo at the time with the other photo had that been done at that time. So that was another police lie. And you know, when my barrister asked him about the 2 strikes to the back, he grinned, you know, and I was like, who does that? You think that's funny? And then the judge was a woman, and when my barrister was talking about use of force, what difference does it make if it's a woman? And my barrister was like, well, I would hope that you would take into consideration your size and strength against the person that you were attending to. And so, but the judge had to tell him off when O'Connell was giving evidence about what happened in the back of the van and whether it was an appropriate use of force. He was laughing at the back of the court with his chief inspector. She were nodding and he was laughing, and the judge had to tell him off for the behaviour at the back of the court, and that's the police.
Can I just I mean, on the day when there was me, Phil, and Joel, and we got stopped, and they threatened us. They threatened us, said, "Listen, if you're not going any further, you get in a section, this, that, and the other." And they tried to get us to say something. And when I swore and said, "Oh, you're just a load of cunts," that's it, I'm arresting him. Right? And then you either take your section 3 or we're arresting you. That's what they were like on the day. But where this stems from is Andy Burnham, the Manchester mayor. When we had UK against here and Sharon said she went there, he called everyone EDL types. And since then, the council have been anti anything other than left. And he's a Labour guy. He's told the police to go down hard on us. He's told them that. We met one of the coppers a couple of weeks later in Leeds, or a month later in Leeds. And I said, "Remember me? Yeah, the one who like bullied us and all that lot." And he was just laughing. You know what I mean? And they didn't do this on their own. They've been told to be hard on us by the fucking authorities.
Mm. Well, especially when it comes to a lockdown, mind, they're even worse then. They are proper Nazis. I've got to say Nazis because that's what they are. They're communist thugs, like, you know. They're paid thugs by our government just to bully us.
I mean, in court, their barrister, his line of attack for me was that I was my political leanings and things. And I went, what political leaning? And then trying to make out I was associated with far right groups or whatever. And so when he said to me about, "Oh, you don't agree with these people coming into the country," and I went, "Well, not if they're a risk to women and children." No, I said, "But they're the people that I focus on." And then he said something else about groups that have opposing political views, like Stand Up to Racism. And I was like, "Well, I've never really debated a stand up to anybody from Stand Up to Racism." I said, and at that point in time, I didn't have anything to do with Stand Up to Racism. I said, because I wasn't involved with any groups at that point in time. I said it was only after my arrest that I was asked to join a group. So before then, I said I wasn't anybody. I was just turning up because for me, it was part of my personal journey. And so, you know, events happened as they did. And I'm glad that they did because my life's just one adventure. Do you know what I mean? It's like, bring it on. Come on. What have you got? What? Well, I'm protected by the angels because I'm on the righteous path. It's like
when so this happened in 2000, and when were it?
2018.
Yeah, 2018, weren't it? Yeah. So after that, counter-terrorism put a car through my door in something like August or September after I'd been stabbed. Because I've gone on social media, slagged them off, everyone off, and they would have known who I was from Sharon's case. And then they did a profile on me, Phil, and they thought that I was going to start saying, Islam this, Islam that. And I went, Labour Party this, Conservatives that, the Green Party this. And I said, I'm going to be a local councillor and change it all. And they didn't have nothing to stand on, you know what I mean? Because I never started going on about the Quran and shit like that. What my argument was the government, what's going on. I brought up things that are happening, Brexit and stuff like that. I said, government are just shafting us and it's all their fault. That's what I went on. But they know they've got my name already, so it's easy for them to check. And that's what they did with me. And it could be linked to Sharon's case because that's when they first got my name.
Yeah, well, it's funny you say that, John, because after that was in the May. I had to turn up into court in the June, but in between, the week after I got arrested, Tommy Robinson got arrested, and then I think the 9th of June or something like that. That there was a demo in London, and that's when I met Keith. And then he knew the girls in Sunderland that were starting Justice for Women and Children, and asked me to get involved with that. And so we met up with the girls and I got involved in that, and we started the demos. And Katie Rizel, then, I mean, bearing in mind I'd been sacked from my job in the December previous in 2017, and then that happened in the May, and then Katie Rizel followed me, not just me, Justice for Women and Children, up and down the country, and then by December, 6 months later, we're on BBC Newsnight, 2 Newsnight. Like, is this the first far rights women group? And she's like, oh, why did you go to Poland? Why do you work for the BBC? Are you a pedo? What you trying to presume? You know what I mean?
Listen, Sharon, Katie Rizel, you watched my video on Saturday outside BBC. I absolutely stick it to her because she did the same thing.
Yeah, well, she followed me up and down the country and so I had a tribunal coming up against my work for unfair dismissal because how they treated me with my work to get rid of me after 15 years was the same procedure they use against parents when they've decided they're not fit for purpose. And that's how I understood the forced adoption process so well, because I felt like I'd been through it in some sort of sense. Not in the set, not obviously not to the degree, but to have enough of a flavour of it to understand how they operate and how ruthless these people are once they collude against you. And it seems that when you try to do the right thing, you get more people colluding against you. But you're the bad apple then, because you're not following the programme. You're not damning every natural parent for being useless and taking the child, presuming that you know better when you've not even had kids of your own. I'm going to get off that box right now. But anyway, it's given me a good understanding. So, yeah, every experience is valuable in life. That's all I can say. And when truth's on your side, fight for it. Fight for justice, because sometimes you do win the day. And I knew I was in the right. And they even sent a message on the 1st of April. My solicitor said I just thought it was a joke, so I didn't even tell you about it. Offering if I gave up, if I backed off, they wouldn't go after me for court costs. Well, it turns out Greater Manchester Police is paying the court costs. Thank you very much. My barrister's very happy because no fee. So my barrister's over the flaming moon, but he knew he was onto a winner because all of the videos the guys had got. And my story never changed. I three different versions. Like, I had to go to Middlesbrough Police. I put an affidavit in. I had to give a statement in the police station. I then give a statement from a solicitor. The story stays the same because that's what happened. I didn't know about so much about what happened physically in the van, because all I was focused on was, you're not having my phone. That's all I cared. I'm like, anything else was just noise. I was just like, got to get my phone down my trousers. But yeah, I was determined.
Yeah. You must have felt brilliant after that court case. Because I felt exactly.
Yeah, 3 years.
I felt the same.
It's a relief, somebody said, you know, you can take him to court personally now, for damages, whatever. But I just kind of think his wife and kids must suffer enough having to live with a little narcissist that I wouldn't want to add to their misery. That's not what I'm about. Do you know what I mean? I'd rather just get on with my life knowing that at least he's been given a dressing down, if nothing else, for not knowing his job. And he was so arrogant in the court because I think they just assume that they've got the law on their side, and you've got to really have the proof against them, because the judge was more lenient with them. He was waffling on about all sorts of things, trying to make it relevant to what was going, like I had a concealed weapon and I could have, you know, what about the officer that got shot? And I'm like, for God's sake, you knew I was hiding my phone down my trousers. You try to make out like I could have been some fucking lunatic with a knife or something. But yeah, that's just how the lens they'll go to try and make you wrong when you've got truth on your side. It is hard to go up against them, because you know how devious they are. You know how corrupt they are. You know how the system works, and so you even with the truth on your side, you know, I can't imagine what it's like in those, because those parents have to go to court to try and keep the children or fighting for the children, whatever.
That's
what
what I
mean.
mean.
Is nothing compared to what I think they must go through, and I would like to provide a service or to be involved in some sort of service where I do the parent life coaching, do you know, like, because that was my job. I was in people's homes helping them with the communication within the family and helping parents, give them strategies to use and help manage behaviors and things like that. And there's a massive black spot there that these parents now, especially the parents now, they haven't had the training, the knowledge, the experiences passed down to them, because they've just these are people pulling the strings have had an agenda, haven't they? And they've been prey to it, and we're all victims of it. We just, those of us that have risen above and can see what's going on, need to try and educate people. But yeah, I'd like to see that and I'm putting it out there to the universe that there's these groups up and down the country are providing parenting advice, and I'm happy to help anybody. If you come to me, I'm happy to help you, and that's just because I can. Simple as.
That's always been your attitude, to help as many people as you can, Sharon. That's probably what we love about you, like, doing.
I used to feel blessed that I could help so many families, and the government were paying me, because that's the only involvement I wanted with them. I don't have to ask these families for anything. I can just give to them, and I'm still getting paid, and it was great. I can still pay for my house and bring my family up. Well, my family were up by the time they took my job off me, so I still need to serve that purpose that I have in life for doing that. I do what I can, and that's just who I am, whether I'm getting paid for it or not. So, you know, anybody wants any advice about parenting, that's my skills. That's what I've done. That's what I was doing for those years in the council. I wasn't. I was putting it to good use. So yeah, it's there if anybody wants to use it.
I'm going to see if I can try that assault again for the minute. See if I can get that back up. Because I keep on. It looks like I'm not going to be able to play any films tonight. It looks like. No, it's still not doing it.
So Sharon.
Oh, yes, there is.
Oh.
There's no sound at first because it doesn't come on for a little while once his body cam's on.
All right. Yeah. So this is a police body cam when you just got arrested, Sharon.
He's got me up by the neck, and I've got my phone behind my back.
This is police brutality! I'll tell you what, it's alright, we'll just put some...
And then I get my hands behind, and I grab my phone with it.
I've done nothing! Release your hand! You're under arrest, put your hands behind your back. Give me my phone! Get your hands behind your back! Oh, you're just leaving me!
he almost got my hand in
Give me
the
that one, mate.
cuff,
You got it?
and I pulled it free and got my phone.
Right, well, there was absolutely no need for that, was there?
No, there wasn't.
Right, no,
You're a bully.
Sit
You're a bully.
down.
Shut up and sit down.
Apparently, the
You're a
kid
bully.
said verbal assault was me calling him a bully.
Right.
So what do you mean? All I did was stand in the street.
Sometimes too.
Yeah, so assault times 3, that was, Sharon.
Times 2, yeah.
Yeah. How bang out of order is that, like, you know?
So,
I'm glad I could get that up.
So I mean, PC Rigby and O'Connell or whatever, they have the names on the policemen's numbers, and so they have the names on them. So it won't be easy to run into him in Manchester. And if I run into him in Manchester, I'll be broadcasting that they're abusers. That's what I'll say. They'll have to put up with it. I'll get arrested one time or another, but they're getting it. I've been all over Twitter tagging the Mayor of Manchester, Greater Manchester Police, the Manchester Evening News for not reporting it, slagged them off, honestly. And the video's still up on Twitter as well, and it's up on my Facebook. So, but I'm not going to forget it. So how much court costs does it cost now to get Sharon to court and to do all this process? How much? So taxpayer.
Do you know what? Right? It would have cost. They could have settled out of court for 15 grand. They were so arrogant that they suggested that I drop it and they wouldn't go after me for court costs. So now they've got over 100 grand in court costs and my barrister and my solicitor to pay for. So bang on.
Nice one,
And I
Sharon.
proved that the
Yes,
little
John.
runt didn't even know the law. So what
Yeah.
school of law did he go to? He didn't know his oath because he didn't know the law. That's why he tried to grab my phone, but he wasn't having it. I was not letting him have that phone. I'm sorry. That were mine.
Since that UK Against Hate demo, honestly, Andy Burnham said to police, he's a police crime commissioner, you have to go hard on all the right wingers because we've never had a easy demo. You know what I mean? And I don't give a shit, mate. Who does he think he is? You know what I mean? And you know, it goes on. So he's come into the job in 2017. When already in 2016, the police didn't report 38,000 crimes. He's known about that. Then they've not reported 80,000 crimes. Honestly, what a scumbag. The police as well. I've just had my brother-in-law here and I said, I don't have any trust in police. I said, I don't blame you. You know what I mean? Honestly, you know, and I'm not going to let it rest me. The police don't like me but about the things I say about the police, but it's going to be 10 times more now. It's going to be 10 times more.
Well, as if it's all recorded and you know, every bit. I'm glad that I got in touch with that solicitor. Well, there was another gift. A couple of days before the police come back to me, that happened in the May. I put a complaint in. They dealt with it by January. They told me there was no further action, that they acted within their role, and so. At that time, I was sent a post from about Ian Gould, who works for DPP Law, and he specialised in police, taking police to court. So I sent him the footage, all the footage that I had at the time, and since sending him that, most of that footage has disappeared. So I'm really glad that, and I have got it all back now because it was used in the trial. So all of that footage that was deleted, whoever tried to get rid of it, whether it was Facebook or whether it was just unfortunate, whatever, but I have it all and my solicitor had it all, so that those didn't get deleted. And so there was a record of, you could see me in different people's shots, that I wasn't doing anything wrong, and in fact my barrister said she was actually doing your job for you. She was leaving. That's what you wanted them to do. You were just leaving. So yeah, they just lied. If that was 3 coppers, one the chief inspector, willing to lie in court on the Bible, to say that everything that they were saying was true, knowing that they were lying, and making shit up or trying to dodge the question because they didn't want to admit things.
Did you say
Then
Chief Inspector?
yeah, the one that gave the order for the Section 35.
So what's their name?
It's a woman, Rose, Amber Rose, or something like that.
Right. Just got to remember that name.
I'm sure we'll see. I'm sure we'll see one or two of them on Saturday, John. And we can bring out our cameras, obviously, and make them look like fools and take the mickey out of them.
I did enjoy watching them sweating and squirming and sitting there being questioned by my barrister, though. That was quite, I must admit, I did get a little bit of enjoyment. Although I wasn't, you know, I didn't find it amusing. There was some satisfaction in that fact that the lies were pouring out of this sweat glands, you know. It was just like they were melting in the chair under the lies, and I just thought, yeah, I can see you squirming. That's good enough for me.
Yeah, and it's great when a not guilty comes in.
It's very dangerous, though, that these little Hitlers are in uniforms and don't even know the law, and they're using it to their own, and they're willing to lie to make sure that they can use it to their advantage. You know, that's a dangerous. It is a dangerous thing, and I'm laughing about it. But that was my point as well. That if you let them get away with that, where does it end? Because just because he's got a uniform on doesn't mean he can break the law, or use it to his own means.
Yeah, totally. Well done, Sharon. Brilliant. I'm quite happy. Another one put over on the police force. I am. Because we all know how corrupt they are about hiding the truth, and especially when it comes to grooming gangs, paedophilia, and all sorts of different things, different crimes, like, you know.
My new page is the Truth, Justice, Karma, and it's more about the solutions and the positive thinking and high vibe stuff. So yeah, we need to move into the action and cause and effect. We need to up the vibration on the cause and effect bit.
The ante, yeah, honestly, take them to court like Kim and Tom did with Anna Rothery. Unfortunately, I couldn't get Amy Fenton to court, but I showed her right to be a scumbag liar and all. And I still say on Twitter, I still message about Anna Rothery, I still put a video up, and I'll do it till I'm blue in the face. I'll do it till I'm blue in the face. Now I've got 2 coppers' names, and then I'm going to have a chief inspector. So I might have to go down and try and make an official complaint at the desk and about them, all 3 of them. Honestly, I'm loving it, mate. I'm loving it because I'm going to get it stuck at them. I'm not going to forget them names.
Lisa, Sharon haven't done anything. She just won a court case last week, Lisa, and she beat the police over 2 assaults. Am I incorrect in saying that? There's 2
No, that's
assaults.
all right. No, I had them for. I took them to court for false arrest, assault, and malicious prosecution.
All right. Yeah, so not too bad. So just a reminder about Saturday, folks. Manchester is still going ahead. The Voice of Wales are pulled out due to Dan being ill. He's got kidney stones. He's going to be having an operation, and but it's still going to go ahead, folks. John Lawrence is definitely going to be there. He'll be doing a bit of a speech. I'm sure Jimmy the Hat will end up turning up, and a few other speakers as well. So it's not over, folks. So if you've paid for your hotel, your train tickets, still please come, because we need you outside that BBC, and we need the strength of everybody there, because obviously we all know the propaganda station there is, the hiding of the not mentioning grooming gangs, the Jimmy Savile, the statue down in London they've got up, which is a paedophilia statue made by a paedophile. So folks, we all need you on Saturday. Definitely, folks. Is John there?
I'm here.
So have you got anything else to say about Saturday? It's 12 o'clock at the BBC, isn't it?
Yeah, it's 12 o'clock at BBC. When I go to Media City, I've already got stuff to do every time I go down. And it's call out Katie Razzle and Yasminira Khan, who tried to do a set fit up on me, and they tried to do it with Sharon, they tried to do it with Tracy, and they tried to do it with James, and I'm just not having it. And I call them out every time I go down. I've already tweeted them to tell them that I'll be there Saturday if they want to come out and talk to me. There was a court case at the Lowry while they've been using it because of COVID, and I haven't been able to say anything because the case has been going on, but I know a relative of the victims, and they showed me the case up and coming, and it was 60-odd-year-old guy, and he's getting done for abuse charges that happened in the 80s when he was a teenager against other kids on his street. And they started the trial off, and then the reports in the Manchester Evening News the next day, it was like he hadn't done anything wrong. Yeah, it was like he'd not done nothing wrong. And the only evidence was 4 people's word against his. Yeah. And he never admits it, still denied it now, but he got found guilty. But he's only getting 10 years and he'll be out in 5. And some of the one of the victims and his family were all crying their eyes out. You know what I mean? But the paper made it look like he'd not done anything wrong even before the trial had finished. And they hardly said anything about the victims, you know what I mean? And I just want to let people know, and it's not anyone black, it's a white dude, you know what I mean? But I just want people to know how it just seems like everything was for him and not for the victims, and that's how it always is. The victims are always left behind, they never get listened to and stuff like that. And I've seen it a million times with Sharon, and then I see it on this case. I was fuming, me, and I've not been able to say anything.
That young girl that spoke in Blackpool on Saturday, the other Saturday, about her little boy, 3-year-old, the guy had done something previously and they hadn't locked him up because he said mentally he wouldn't deal with it, but he's allowed to roam around without people knowing and abusing children. I mean, that child's traumatized now. I mean, the poor girl.
Justice for JS.
Yeah.
Justice for JS. Honestly, you just can't believe it. That guy's he's committed this act on other people, and he's still free. And his mum sticks up for him like he hasn't done nothing wrong, but he's been proven that he is what he's done, and he's threatening little kids now. I don't know if he's mentally ill himself. I don't know, but you know.
But if you're a risk to vulnerable children, you shouldn't be walking the streets. I don't care whether it's a mental institution or a prison. You should not be walking the streets. If your parent isn't taking responsibility for your actions, even if you've got diminished responsibility due to your mental age, then you should not be walking the streets because nobody's taking responsibility for you. And you're certainly not taking it for yourself or being made to, where a 3-year-old child has to, you know, the things that happen to us before the age of 8, these are the things that you spend the rest of your life trying to get over or recover from, aren't they, when it's so traumatic like that? It's terrible.
Yeah, totally.
I have got some unfortunate news. It's good news actually. Me and my mum have got a place, and it's looking like we're going to be moving in it in about a month. And I'm not going to be able to make Glasgow, I don't think. But I want to go.
I think I might be going up to Glasgow. The players are going.
What date's Glasgow?
Is it the 22nd or something like that? No, 21st, isn't it?
I'm sure.
I'm sure that me and Keith's coming up for that.
Yeah, it's the 21st. I'm sure it's the 21st.
I think we're coming up for that.
Joseph has got 3 nights off. Yeah, it's the 21st. Liz just said.
Yeah.
But I want to go. If I can, I will. But we've got to move now. We've got a bigger flat, and Mum's got to come first. So that's going to be a priority. But hopefully, I will get some time. But yeah, Justice for JS. Horrible story. That the guy lives in Manchester. So I've been trying to do some research online try and find anything, if he's been linked to any crimes that are online or anything like that. But yeah, it's awful. And the victims, like I said, with that case at the Lowry, victims are last. And I am absolutely sick of it. I'm sick of victim blaming. There is a case actually going on the 30th, this Friday. Bradley Gledhill, he was brutally killed by the Carollia brothers and 4 other people. There's 6 of them all together. 2 of them are under 17. And I reported on it on the 4th of June and did a video. And when I read through the reports at the bottom, it said the defense for the guys who murdered him are trying to say something like Bradley was doing drugs or had a weapon or he was a gang member or something like similar to that. And I said, that's victim blaming that. He probably hasn't done nothing wrong. Throughout all the case, everyone's been attacking Bradley's mum, saying that he was doing bad. But when the case finished, he hadn't done bad. He had not done nothing wrong. He was left there and victim blaming. And then we've had it in Barrow, where they've been having a go at Ellie Reynolds and Ellie Williams, victim blaming. And it seems really big on the scale, and I'm just not having it, me. Not in there, even the slight, I'm not having it.
It's the same, John, as when they're saying that these girls 13, 14, 15 are making a choice to go with these guys. They're not supposed to be allowed to give consent at that age. And if you're under the care system, shouldn't part of that care being keeping them safe, not giving them the option to leave, go get used and abused, whether they go in there because they're hooked on the drugs or that's the whole point of the grooming. You're allowing them to be groomed by allowing them to disappear and be picked up in cars and do whatever else. And then you're saying, well, they're making that choice. Well, why would a young person make that choice? That's the question you got to ask. Not whether they should be able to give that consent or make that choice. You know, the adults need to be responsible for them.
Don't forget, it's all right for Shamina Begum to say she was only 14 and she didn't know what she was getting into. It's all right for Shamina Begum to say that, but it's not all right for any of the young girls or anything to say anything like that. As soon as you say anything like that, the left is shame, 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 victim blame, victim blame. You know what I mean? And it's not right. It's not right. Actually, I'd be a lot tougher on kids, Sharon. They wouldn't be making their own decisions at 16. They'd have to be 18. I'm sorry. And I can't prove that is viable thing to do. You know what I mean? Drinking as well.
We need to go right back to basics with as far as teaching young people about family values and parenting and child psychology and you know, your milestones that you reach and the natural processes that they're distorting with all of this gender crap that they're dishing out. You know, we really need to take it back to the natural way of things, you know, the common sense teaching, and this get rid of all of this psychobabble shit that they're feeding to our kids about, you know, taking medication to change your gender and shit like that, teaching them sex education in primary school, so that teaching them about consent as if they should be given consent for things like that. It's terrible.
Yeah, Tommy Trump, who just messaged, first time I've heard this lady, very impressed, thanks all. Well, Tommy Trump, Sharon's the one who interviewed the PCP girls in Blackpool, and she's done a wonderful job, and I didn't have to do anything. I just filmed them interviewing each other. It was brilliant. I loved it.
Well,
yeah,
interesting girls. It was good to talk to them. Yeah.
Yeah,
got a really good track record in the Northeast as well. Tommy Trump, one of the I've visited the Northeast more than I have anywhere else in the country, and I always said, and I believe that the Northeast past 10 years has had some of the worst abuse and crimes coming out in the country. And Sharon's worked with Tasha on Justice for Women and Children, stuff like that. And I've seen it. I've been on a demo, mate, when girls have come up and started talking to them about what's been happening to them. And that's exactly what we want, innit? That's exactly what we want.
Every time somebody comes up and opens up, and I've not done a demo or a speech in the street yet where somebody hasn't come up and said something about their experience. And that's how I really got moved across to involved in the forced adoption stuff as well, because parents were coming up and telling me about their experiences of it, and then I kind of saw the similarities and how they'd been treated and manipulated and lied about, and you know, these people have no soul, and to lie in court to remove a child from family when you know full well that any support that could have been put in place has never been done, any education that could have been offered hasn't been offered, that would improve their family life. Somebody, a family worker going in, I did it for years. You can make a difference when you're giving that parent the support that they actually need, rather than telling them to jump through hoops, leaving them to it. A lot of times, if they could do it themselves, they would be doing it, because most people do love their children. They just get frustrated. I educated myself on parenting because I only had my parents to go by, and they weren't the best example as far as teaching, disciplining without you know, a smack or a whatever. But it's like that education that I gave myself for the sake of my children, I then passed on. I used as a job so I could pass it on to other families, because I thought, well, where do we learn this stuff if we don't get off our asses and look for it? Because you know, it's not offered to you. And I don't even think half the material that I read back then is available, because they don't even acknowledge attachment anymore, which was the basis of the psychology, that the child psychology and the needs of the child being met and all the rest of it. It all ties in. And so they seem now, I'm like, how are you just dismissing all of this? You know, how are you just ignoring all the psychology, all the theories, everything that's been proven, because they don't want us to improve as humans or individuals, or have you know, anything independent about us. They just want to control us, and that's why they're doing it, you know. But we have to be wise enough to not allow them to do it. That's it. They can only do to us what we allow, and that's the same with anything.
Well, what I'm going to do now, I'm going to bring Joe and Dion on. That's if they're about. Hello, Joe. Are you there? Dion?
Joe and Dion.
Oh, man.
All right. In a black screen.
In a black screen.
Yeah, I've brought you on tonight. It's regarding the Gurkhas. Could you tell us a little bit about the story about the Gurkhas and what's happening in London on Saturday, please, mate?
Oh, I'll try and be brief here as best I can. The Gurkhas go back 206 years fighting alongside the British. In 1940, I think it was 46 or 47 now, the government signed them up to give them equal rights to any serving British soldier. So that was equal rights on the pay, pensions, etc., etc. But this never ever panned out. It was never panned out, and they've been fighting a battle ever since. They were only ever allowed to do 20 or 21 years. If you was what we call a sergeant, a colour man, or a full screw, or a lance corporal, those who know like military terms, they'd served 21 years. They were never allowed to do 22 years. That way they didn't pick up on a full pension, because you have to serve the 22 to get a big full pension. So they were never allowed. And then if they did make sergeant major or something like that, they had an opportunity then of going for their commission. Well, what they've done of late, the British wouldn't give them a commission. They would just pension them straight out of the army, basically redundancy. And then the redundancy package would literally be anything from £2,000 to sort of £4,000 as a lump sum, and then a tiny pension. And several I've spoken to on on Wednesday when I was there, they was telling me that they get £240 a month pension. And if you work that out weekly, it's nothing. So now they're going on. You know, I was at the March from Trafalgar with them in support of them, and we went round to the the Gurkha statue, where they had a little prayer and a minute silence, etc., etc. And then we went on up to the Montgomery statue, as you know, and most people will know, is opposite Downing Street. And they've gone into a hunger strike, 3 of them, which is 2 men and 1 woman. They actually done the same thing in 2013. They went on a 15-day hunger strike, and the Cameroon government came out in support of them and said, we'll form a group and we'll act on your behalf. But nothing ever come of that. And then I think it was about 2018, the British government sort of said, oh, we'll have an inquiry into this. And they looked into it and said, yeah, we'll give you what you are respectfully owed. But again, nothing ever come of this. And right up until recently, the Nepalese government lobbied our government again, and nothing's come of it. So the last sort of stand they're doing now is this hunger strike to try and get. They're doing the hunger strike to try and get something, pension, etc., or just equal rights. And they do believe, they've also written books about this. Not that I've read the books, but there is books out there from those who've done previous hunger strikes in 2013. But they now actually feel as if they get nowhere now, they're going to look at probably getting international lawyers to sort of sue our government on their behalf. And that's where they stand at the moment.
They'll probably lose their lives in the process as well, mind.
Yeah, of course they are. And not only that, I found out, because I've been following them all this week, from last week, from when I was with them, and I had to say goodbye in the end, because obviously I had to go back to work. But I found out that every night they're getting harassed. They had their tents and clothing and sleeping bags taken off them by the councils and by the Westminster Council, etc., etc. So even the Met Police are going over there, sort of saying to them, "You can't sleep here. If you sleep, you'll be arrested," and all this sort of thing. So the poor sods are being harassed and everything.
Last night, Dion, they actually took the chairs away. In the afternoon, they took away. The night before, they took the blankets away.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, it's
old military veterans, and they are old down there. They really are. Do they deserve that sort of treatment? No.
And by the way, Dion, who's speaking at the moment, he's 3 para years. He's served what, 20 odd years with the paras, was it?
Yeah, I served a long time, and I was 13 years out in the Middle East and around, as a private soldier. So I feel as if I've done my bit, and I will support any veteran out there, not just the Gurkhas, but any veteran. If I can support them and if I can be there for them, I will do that.
Yeah, that's right, mate. So it's 12 o'clock on Saturday, isn't it? By the cenotaph. Everybody's meeting.
Yes, it is. Yeah. And I'm looking forward to everyone probably having a brilliant turnout. I hope there's going to be a big turnout in support of them, because, they need it, and they are beautiful, beautiful people, and they will be by our side if we need them. That's the, it's so unfortunate that they're being treated like this. But if you think about it, it actually goes back even more when you think that Joanna Lumley was like their patron. She was always in support of them and everything like that. And now they're wondering where she is. And some of them have sort of said, well, perhaps it's because we ain't got media coverage. She don't come out and support us. But I'd like to think she's probably been warned off by the government, because the government have never come forward in any way whatsoever to help them. Or, even in England, every now and then they pop their head up out the parapet and say, oh, yeah, we'll look into this. And then nothing ever sort of arises. So I think she's probably even been warned off, or unless she's fed up with, doing everything and nothing ever coming of it. But, they need our support. They need our help. And I just hope that there's an MP out there what comes and fights in their corner. And that's not Johnny Mercer. Yeah,
well, Johnny Mercer didn't do anything really for the vets while he was a minister anyway, did he?
No, exactly. That's why I said I hope it's not Johnny Mercer. But, they need someone. They need someone to fight in their corner. They really do. And someone from the government, well, the government should be ashamed of themselves. You know, it's shocking.
Dion, Gilly just said, right, they took the chairs away from them earlier on tonight again, and the police have turned around and said they can have them back at 8 o'clock in the morning. So if anybody got any complaints to make, start ringing Charing Police Station, because that's what they were ringing last night. Start ringing Charing Police Station and start showing your voice of discontent with these buggers, like, do you mean?
Yeah, but the police are probably acting on orders from above, which is, you know, I won't mention any names who I probably think who it is, because it's either Dick or even, you know, the Mayor of London. But the police should be ashamed of themselves of walking across the road doing this. Or it could be the Met Police getting out of vans doing it. But they should be ashamed. They should turn their back on those orders.
Half of those are veterans anyway, those police officers. Do you mean? There's a lot of those police veterans themselves, like.
It's terrible.
Yeah, there is.
To be even part of that.
Do you want to tell everybody?
Be ashamed.
Yeah. Do you want to tell everybody about the PTSD camp in Bath as well, and what you actually do down there?
Well, yeah, I'll briefly cover it. Obviously, myself and Joe formed a PTSD camp, or started up a PTSD camp, because obviously we got a little bit of land and we can sort of like host people. So going to these demos and marches like we have been, and meeting a lot of guys, and you hear the stories of some who have suffered in bad ways. Some have tried to take their lives. Some are sort of in dark places and that. So me and Joe just decided, look, we got somewhere. If you want to come and stay with us, you know, it could be your family, the whole family, a couple of children, your wife, you or whatever, then pop on down. And we've got a few buildings here now, a clubhouse, a bunkhouse. We got a couple of veterans here, actually staying here, and we got lots of civilian friends who come here and help us gardening and cutting grass and all that, and people pass, you know, come through. We've actually been lucky enough to sort of have one what was in a dark place. He stayed a while, and now he's working on a farm, and he's got a place not so far away from here, and I see him nearly every day. So, you know, that's a brilliant story for us. And we got one here at the moment who's homeless, and he's working with me on the farm at the moment.
Yeah.
And hopefully things will get better for him. But our aim is to make people come here, and if you know, I probably shouldn't say it like this, but shoot the shit together, take numbers, make friends, you know, and tell. There's some brilliant stories being told down here. You know, I expect everyone's fed up with my stories. They probably heard them that many times, but yeah, I can always tell the story, or true stories as well. Then nothing is ever whatever. And some people tell the dark stories of, you know, what they've been in, and that's why they're suffering PTSD, blah blah blah. But when they go away from here, we get the lovely messages to say that, oh my God, they can't wait to come back, and they made so many friends and all that now. So, you know, we just hope we'll get bigger and better, and more veterans and civilians will come and mingle, because that's what we want. Because we're, you know, without, you know, me and Joe can do our bit with veterans, but it's also good that we get civilians coming through who have never been in the army, but feel for the veterans and help them out, because that's what they need. They need 100% support all over and all round, enough of everyone.
Yeah, you've saved 11 lives at the moment, Dion, on the latest count. You have been getting a lot of support regarding building the bunkhouse. I mean, vets and civilians have come together to build it. You had Sean Morris, who did that crawl around the field, a 5-mile crawl. That was a 5-mile walk for me. That was, because I was filming it. I paid for the toilet block. I mean, it's a real close community down there, and it's unbelievable. I don't like leaving. As soon as I come through the gate, I know peace and quiet comes through my body. And when I leave, I'm a little bit gutted that I got to leave. Like,
Yeah, here.
No,
Yeah.
it's good.
I'm yet to make it down to the camp. I've not. I've been invited down a couple of times with various people, but I've
You
never
should
had
come
to.
down.
I know. Yeah, I will. I will make a point of it at some point, but it's just never been the right time.
Yeah, it's such a lovely place. They got lovely farm animals, horses, pigs. They got dogs, chickens, geese. Do you mean it's just a lovely place, really? It is.
I know you got targeted, didn't you, Dion, a little while back? Has anything else happened about that, or is it settled?
No, hello Sharon. No, it's not. It's not settled. We're still, even late last night we had a low-flying police helicopter come over, and then we've had one today come over. They just come straight over. It's sort of harassment. Our phones are still tapped. Our phones are being messed about with. We're on about our third Wi-Fi card because they keep going down, and and we're still under investigation. And it's ongoing. We're told it could take up to 2 years. So
can you get them details for your solicitor to them, maybe, see if he can help them out or anything?
Sorry, John, were you talking to me?
Yeah.
Yeah, you could chat. I mean, it's DPP law over in I think it's in Bootle, and it's Ian Gould. He specialises in cases against the police.
I've just taken that down. That's handy. Thank you.
The thing is, right, the police haven't got you on bail. You've got no restrictions or anything. I mean, they're just messing about. They just that's as far as I can see. They're just messing about. They haven't charged you with anything. So why don't they just drop it and give you back all your stuff back, and then you can take them to court. That's what boils down to, because they know you're going to end up taking them to court after they've wasted close to £500,000 ransacking your place. Do you mean?
Yeah,
bang out.
Yeah. Without doubt, I would like them to bring everything back, and we've got we're finding stuff every day when we go to look for stuff. It's missing. So what they've told us they've got and what they've actually got is totally different. So we have got someone onto it, fighting in our corner now, and we are going to try and get things back, get things moving. But I think they're a law unto themselves. I mean, the way they acted here anyway, they just went around, they even told my girls that they'll probably end up knocking the house down and bulldozing the place because they can, and things like that. I mean, I don't know who they think they are. Probably think they're a bit like the Met Police in London. They can just sort of run ramshot through everyone and over everyone. It's just ridiculous.
Yeah, they even dug up your dog's graves and your pet's graves and stuff like that, thinking they were body bones and stuff like that. Bang out of order, like.
Yeah, they dug up the ground and fruit banks, and I don't know what they were. But maybe one day they'll tell me what they were looking for. Well, they had army bomb disposal.
Maybe they were just maybe they were just trying to make it look a certain way to the outside world. You don't go digging up holes for no reason, and it's that discrediting people, isn't it? They've got dirty tricks to try and put that element of doubt or question in people's minds. What have they got up there that they would be digging up? Just so people around you would kind of give you the cold shoulder type of thing. This is a type of insidious things that they do, don't they? But
they harassment and things like that they do. But I know what I can't go into detail, but I know what they asked me, what their questions were in the police station for several days, and what they asked me about, and if I had blah blah. That's why the heavy equipment machinery was brought in looking for it. But I won't go into what they were, what they spoke to. But they were definitely looking for a lot of different sort of stuff. I think they thought that I was probably a training camp.
Yeah,
Oh,
so
right.
damn it.
Military veteran training camp. I think somewhere along the line, that certainly popped its head up anyway with me and what the things they were asking me in the police station, and then and the types of police and army and military aircraft they had here. I don't want to openly say what I know what they were looking for. I don't want to openly say, but with the equipment they had on my place, they were hoping to find a massive, spectacular find. That's all I'll say.
Well, they were given false information at the end of the day because they didn't find anything. So whoever gave that false information, the police need to go after them personally.
Well, I'd like to think they would, but I remember hearing the police officer, plainclothes police officer, when they took me into the police station. I had about a dozen with me, I was a high-profile prisoner at this stage. Yeah, but when the desk sergeant said to him, "Can you tell me the reason you've arrested this man and brought him into custody?" He said, "A good sourced informant." So whoever that good sourced informant was, got it wrong. Were they just trying to put the camp down by giving false information? I don't know.
I think they do just make shit up, don't they?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, to get a warrant, but then again, we can go back and say that we can go back 6 months previous to the raid, and we had people walking around the outskirts of our land. We had helicopters flying over. We had all the drones. One day we had 3 drones going over, and I blame my neighbour. I said to my neighbour, "You're a pervert," but it turns out it weren't him. It was surveillance, police surveillance. So we'd actually been. Everything had been ongoing for like 6 months previous to our raid.
Mm. Yeah,
but I didn't realise, and I should have bloody realised. But then again, we weren't doing anything wrong.
No, you weren't.
So why, why should I even jump in and sort of come to conclusions? Because,
Yeah, bang out order.
Same as Sharon. It's exactly the same thing done to Sharon, but 10 times worse. They thought they'd go in and bully you or intimidate you or something like that. It's just sickening. And the worst thing is, I went to the camp like 3 years ago, and I've been a load and I've seen it develop. And then when I hear about all this, I'm just really like, what the fuck? What you're doing? You know what I mean? The people who go there are ill and stuff like that. The last time I went, I've been looking after my mum for 8 months, and I've not had a break. And I think that felt like a 3-week holiday for me, and stuff like that. And there's other people who are in the same thing as me. Katie Jane has a lot of issues with court and stuff like that, and a lot of us who go down are suffered somehow or another, same as like Bobby and Joseph and all that. And I never said anything except for good things and how nice a camp is for a break to get away. Then they do that. You know what I mean? Honestly, when we do find out who it is, they've got to be named.
Yeah, I don't think we'll ever find out because the police will keep that to themselves. Mate.
Yeah. One of my conditions, actually, the only condition we got is basically if we find out who it is and we go near them, we could receive a prison sentence of up to life imprisonment. So that's on on a piece of paper when they freed us. That's what it says. But I only read that recently because I can't be arsed with it. But I did go through it the other day.
How do you know who it is then? If they didn't tell you, so how do you know not to go near the person who kind of?
They obviously think we might find out one day. But
we will.
All we do is name them, shame them. That's it. You know what I mean? Wherever they work, I'll just go out, stand outside, and call them out, mate. Say what they've done, how much money they've wasted, the mental health they've caused people. I'll just shout it out, mate. Don't have to see the guy, but he'll know, especially if he's on Twitter or something like that.
Yeah. I'm 99.9% certain I know who it is, and I think they know that I know who they are, because since this has happened, they've never popped their heads up above the parapet. So, you know, and I have to wonder why they haven't. But you know,
Yeah, that's the way,
I'm
mate.
getting there. I'm getting there, sort of. In fact, I'll go back to the day me and Joe was released. I was told then who it was, but I didn't believe it. And then when I suppose a fortnight, 3 weeks had gone by, I sort of started calming down inside my head. And then I sort of looked it over, and my God, there it was right in front of me. So I do know who it is. I really do. But yeah, one day it will come out. I'll make sure it comes out. But it's more than one person anyway. But,
Yeah, I would have thought so, mate.
Yeah, it's more than one. Yeah, 1, 2, 3 people, maybe 4 or 5. You know what I mean? But it's there for everyone to see. Now, I have had people telling me, sort of close people telling me that I'll never find out who it is and all that. And I even wonder why they say things like that to me. You know, I wonder if they know something. So nowadays, I don't trust sort of particularly too many people, apart from those which are in my inner family. You know,
yeah.
And I include you and John in that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because you are. Me and Joe, we've had many discussions, and we always say that you're in our inner family.
Yeah, and I feel part of the family as well. To be honest, Dion, and I've always been made welcome down there, and
more than welcome
down there.
More than welcome, especially when you have a Sunday dinner that Joe and Dion have cooked. Oh my Lord! So
yeah, lovely. Do you want to tell the folks about the memorial that Tom financed and everybody else helped to build?
Yeah, well, yeah, we've got this absolutely spectacular memorial, which Tom, who's a civilian here, where is it? He comes from Essex. He comes down here. I won't embarrass him because he likes to sort of keep it nice and quiet type thing and all that. But yeah, so I've got this memorial. We've got all the flags on flagpoles, all the flags here, and we swap them around sort of weekly or every daily. Or Tom's been here. I don't know. He's probably been here a couple of months now. He built it, and
he's been here longer than you, mate.
He has, I think, hasn't he? He tells me every day when he's going home, but he still ain't gone home yet. But no, this memorial, we got all the flags of all the countries what fought in the Second World War alongside each other, and well, actually, even against each other. We've got the flags, and they represent those countries who fought in the Second World War. We've got a massive cross, which is full of the white marble stone, so it really stands out. And inside each corner of that, we've got poppies and little glass jars with candles in, and they will represent. They're updated weekly or sometimes daily. They represent every veteran what's took his life this year, and they're accumulating all the time, as you can, as everyone knows. So we got that, and then we got statues made out of steel, and they've been cut with in the figurine of a soldier with a rifle, and the bayonet is in the ground upside down, and it's the old 303 type Enfield rifle. And we got some of them are painted white, and some are painted sort of khaki green, and obviously the white represents the ghosts of the past, and the green represents the present soldier. And they, on top of the head, the butt of the rifle, which is stuck in the ground upside down, we've got the old steel helmets, which depicts, the passing of the soldier. And then right across the ground, we've got, what is it?
Lanterns.
Yeah, we've got lanterns everywhere. Yeah. Lanterns everywhere. And then we've got cut into the grass, and filled in again with the marble and that is Mines at War.
Yeah. It looks amazing.
Sorry, in that Mines at War, sorry, we haven't got the marble. We've got sand in that, and that represents the sort of beaches of the Normandy landings. Well, that's the idea behind it. And then the lanterns go all the way. We've cut a path that goes all the way down it to it, and the lanterns go all the way down there, either side of the path. And you know, when we light them at night, and there's solar lights everywhere, all around the cross and everything like that. At night, they all come on different colours, and then we got 4 massive spotlights at the back, which light it up. It's absolutely breathtaking, and we've got a bench right behind the cross. And the sun goes down. When the sun goes down, you sit behind the cross, sit behind it, sit behind everything, in fact, and you just watch the sun going down. And because it's on the paddock is on a slight incline, it's just it's very emotional just to sit there in the calm of the evening, watch the sun going down behind the hills, and that it's fantastic. But you can also see, like, if you're there early in the morning, you can see the sun rising on the other side of it. So it's fantastic. It's as if it was meant to be. And I know Tom done this. You know, he woke up one morning and thought, I know what I can do down there. We never had a clue what he was doing when he came here. We never had a clue. And I'll tell you what, it's worth people coming to see it. And on another note, today I was on the other hill because I work on the farm on the opposite side of my farm. I watched this low-level flying Hercules come over, and he did a big right banking turn, and he come right over the memorial and right over our house today. Oh, it's fantastic! But they're doing this every couple of days. Helicopters, army helicopters. You know, they're all doing it. They're all coming over now, as if they're all coming over to sort of say hello. It's brilliant.
What we're going to say, last time I was down, I met Hugo, didn't I?
Yeah, Hugo's here.
He does the books, and he's doing a record of the camping book. So this has got writings of Joe and Dion are talking in it. He's done Bobby and Joe. Tom he's got, and just about what they've done and, you know, their experiences or whatever. And he's making it all into books, and just brilliant guy. And Hugo was similar to Sharon. He was kicked out of his job because of his view and stuff like that. But you can't fault it, honestly. And Hugo's got the veg. Didn't he start the veg patch as well, Dion?
Yeah, he got a massive veg patch. You know, and we're actually starting to pull it and use it and eat it and that now. So, yeah, we're getting fresh veg nearly every day.
Yeah, John. John, that the book you're showing there, that's the first one. Hugo's actually done a second one as well. So
I want a copy.
I think we all do.
Yeah, I'll get some copies and I'll distribute them to you. Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks, Dion. I don't mind giving something towards the camp. I do mean for him. Do you mean? Because obviously you've got to pay for the cost of the books and that. So that's not.
Yeah. No, I'll get some. We actually have had some, but we've already distributed them. But I'll get some more.
Yeah, going on to a different subject now. Did you hear about Smithy?
What, his girlfriend?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was listening to Joe's. He was on Joe's thing the other day, and she was saying, listen to this. But I think I read something on the World News today about it.
Yeah, it's gone viral, mate. What I'm gonna do quickly, if it will let me, I'll show you the video. This has gone absolutely nuts on Twitter.
Mental.
It's Facebook, Telegram. It's gone everywhere. Papers are taking it up as well. Brilliant. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to see if I can play this now. Because I did have a problem about playing one earlier on. Let's see if it'll let me play it this time. Unbelievable, mine, what happened. Absolutely unbelievable.
But I mean, I'm spending about
Yeah,
baby
sure.
out there.
Yeah.
So I'm not in here bothering you all and whatever because of how you feel about the situation.
No, but Stacey, just can I just finish what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If then we may need to ask security to be involved with you and to
Okay, then I'll ask my own security to guard my children in.
Exactly that.
Alright.
You've got to remember that this baby
Yeah.
is horrible.
So this is all about testing my child.
Yours, it's my property.
So-
So
so-
I have the full say of
Yeah.
what happens, right or wrong, because it is my property.
So you will while the baby's in your abdomen.
What, so you're telling me once the baby comes out, it's not my property no more? Yes, it is. I gave birth to it.
Okay,
It's got
so-
my blood.
Yeah, but did you hear that, folks? Whilst
Unbelievable.
this in your abdomen, it's your baby, but as soon as it pops out, that's it. They can do what the hell they like. Do you mean?
That's
And we're,
basically- yeah, sorry, Phil, but basically she's saying it's government property.
yeah. At the end of the day, it's pretty sick, like, because one is only 25 weeks old. It's premature. Do you mean it can't be possibly? Well, it can have the baby early. That's not a problem. But they're on about as soon as that baby is born, they want to do a PCR test on it, on a baby who's, if you know anything about a baby, it's got the membrane between the top of your nose to your brain is so thin, even if you knock a baby on the head, it can cause damage. So sticking a PCR test up its nose is likely to do a hell of a lot of damage. Like, and where do these nurses think they got a right to decide what medical treatment that you, the parent, should give to your child? Like,
Yeah.
it's
Why
absolutely.
do you have to have the test? Why does the baby have to have a test when it's just been born? What's all that about?
Otherwise, it'll have to be. I think it's classed as positive because the parents won't have a test. They're going to presume the baby is positive, so they want to test the baby. Do you mean?
Oh, it was Smithy. That I didn't know it was Smithy's video. You're right.
Yeah, Smithy.
Oh,
Smithy. Yeah. I tell you what, it's gone viral, mate. It's gone viral.
Did I see somewhere today that they were going back to local hospital, or they were getting moved or something? It was good news. They were moving away
Yeah, they
from
left-
wherever that hospital is.
St. Thomas's.
I think
St.
it's
St.
just threats,
Thomas's,
isn't it?
London.
If you don't comply, they just step it up until you start. They try to. It's like the fear factor. Social workers do it. It seems like nursing staff are doing it now. It's common purpose training is running right through the core of this.
Mm.
Yeah.
Well, if they don't let the baby be tested, they'll just do it anyway. And the likelihood, they were on about bringing in, I can't remember what it was, but you can guarantee social services will be brought in and say, all right, that's neglect to your child for not being tested, testing your child. And they'll take the child off them. You can see where this is leading. If you don't go along with a narrative of being tested or, do you mean have the vaccine, then you're going to lose your child. This is the way they're going to go. They're going to take your child off you. Sick. Absolutely sick.
Yeah. But I also read that the CDC and that in America and the British Medical Association have now come up and banned this test. Haven't they? They've said it's just too many false readings on it. So they've actually banned it. So why are we still using it?
Because our government enjoys paying for it.
Yeah.
It's our taxpayers' money, and some of the politicians are actually making quite a bit of money out of these tests.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's all about money.
No, they're all lining their own pockets there. Under the Emergency Powers Act, they can do it, can't they? They don't have to involve anyone else. They can keep it all amongst themselves and whoever they put it out to. They're not breaking any laws.
Yeah, I'm going to see if I can get Smithy on, because I know Smithy quite well. Like, so I'm going to try and get him on Sunday, I think, whilst I'm in London. I'm going to see if I can get him on, because it shouldn't go on. He did make a call out as well, because they threatened him with security. He said, right, if that's the case, we'll bring our own security. It's true, right?
Good for him.
Yeah. The best thing they've done was record that, because that was brilliant. Yeah, it was absolutely brilliant. It you know, it brought you right up to date of what exactly is blinking happening in this country. You know,
a lot of nurses, mind, they turned around and said that wouldn't happen in our hospital. Do you mean that wouldn't happen in our hospital, and we wouldn't do so?
But is this St Thomas's in London?
Yeah, round the corner from Parliament.
Yeah, just off of Westminster Bridge there, isn't it?
Yeah, that's the one.
They got the vaccination centre right in the grounds and a massive tent. As you go down the steps off the bridge,
yeah,
you can go up some steps and there it is, right there.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and you're right about the PCR test. It wasn't designed. Kimmy just said it's not designed for COVID-19. What they've actually decided was they need another test now to find out what is the flu and what is COVID-19 ready for the winter. So another little scam coming up there, isn't it?
Well, yeah, but we all know that they've just COVID-19 is just renamed flu and blinking the common cold, isn't it?
Yeah, being rebranded, mate.
Yeah, and every year, like this time of the year in Australia, when they start getting, because in their winter, when they start getting the flu in that, we've got, or they've got scientists over there. We've also got scientists working alongside them to discover what type of flu it is, and how do they, or what do they put in our flu vaccines this year to combat it by the time it gets to us. That's what they do every year. So Australia get it down under first. When they start catching it, we then alter the vaccine, the flu vaccine, which we give in our country for our flu. And we do that every year. We've been doing it tens and tens of years, you know.
Yeah, decades, but mate.
Now they want to stick the flu vaccine into you alongside one of their boosters of this COVID thing, which isn't a vaccine. We all know that.
Yeah, it's not.
Well, how many people is that going to topple?
Yeah, it's a gene therapy, mate. That's all there is.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I did read the other day. No, it was yesterday. I was listening to the old doctor. Forgive me, I can't remember his name, but he was saying only 9,000 people in America, and that's the CDC's own figures themselves, have died of supposedly COVID across the whole country. That's out of, what's that, 360 million? So what the hell is going on? You know, mainstream media is telling people so many lies, but people believe it.
Yeah, thanks, Sharon, for jumping on. Sharon's left now. Thank you, Sharon. Awesome as ever. She's brilliant. She is. Sharon is absolutely brilliant.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gutted for Smithy, really, in case they do come knocking on the door.
You know they're going to. They will. They will.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Well, if he needs to sort of move around, doesn't he? Or his girlfriend needs to go somewhere safe.
Mm.
Yeah. As a last resort, we shouldn't be talking like this or even saying that, because it shouldn't happen. But we know now what does happen.
Yeah. But we live in a country now where they can just take your child off you, do whatever you want. It's the same when it comes to September. They're given the choice to the children from ages 11 to 18 now. They've got a choice if they have the jibby jab, as I call it, and it's not up to the parents anymore. And this is a society we're starting to live in. Like, all the rights of a parent, we're losing them. It's the same as sex education. We've lost that right. Do you mean the government keeps on hammering the parent? I don't understand it. Like,
well, I know the schools here in Bath. I mean, we're definitely one of the schools, maybe not all of them, but they've said if you send your child to school, they that's their permission to jab them, to give them a COVID jab.
Yeah, it's like giving consent, isn't it?
Yeah, they're openly saying it. They don't need you to verbally do it. As long as you send your child to school, they can do it. Yeah.
It's wrong. Everybody needs to take the child out of school, to be honest with you.
Yeah, and the other thing is we all need to come together and literally go after these people what are doing it. Harass them.
Yeah, Lisa's right. Yeah, as she says, they always wanted to destroy the family structure. I think that this is a main part of it as well, like cause rifts between the family. And as far as Smithy is concerned, I think there's a bigger agenda to that. Yeah, they'd love to take the child because it's a baby and it's worth more, to be honest with you. A baby is worth more than a child.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, definitely. All right, I'm gonna wrap it up now. Thanks both for coming on.
Yeah, thank you, Phil.
Have you got anything else to say, John, before I finish? John?
Mute myself
Yeah, I can hear you now. Hang on.
on at the camp, and hopefully I'll be down before the end of summer.
Yeah, good one. Good one.
People that go,
We look forward to it. Yeah.
I'm sure I'll be down in a couple of weeks as well, Dion. Anyway.
Are you in London the weekend?
Well, I'm going to Manchester Saturday. This is my plan.
Right, okay, yeah.
This is my plan for the weekend. I'm going to Manchester Saturday. Also, I'd like to point out about the demo on Sunday. It's at Speaker's Corner, where the stabbing happened with a Christian preacher by a Muslim. Do you mean because they had something written on his shirt? She had something written on her shirt. So I'm going down there to support the speakers down there on the Sunday, and then on Monday I'm going to go and pay a visit to the Gurkhas. So because there'll be a lot of people there on Saturday, so I'll go down there on Monday when it's a bit quieter, and I'll speak to them. I'll do a live with them about their plight and everything. So that's my plan for the weekend.
Did they catch anyone for that stabbing?
No, he got away.
Oh, and they had a police car behind him.
Yeah.
I thought when I seen him running that road, I thought, oh, there goes the police car. They'll have him. Oh,
Yeah, definite.
yeah.
Definite. All right. Thank you both for coming on.
All right, Phil, thank you.
Yeah, and thanks all for watching, and thanks for all for sharing. Thanks to my mods as well. You've done great as ever. And I'm going to wrap up the show now. I'm not going to do a video to finish a show. I didn't prepare one. I probably played it already anyway. So hang on a minute. I might see if I have got one yet from earlier. I don't know. Yeah, I'll put the Bristol bike theft, which happened in Bristol, on another time that the police can't do their job. So, do you mean they had hold of the bike, Dion? They had hold of the bike, and they let it go. All you had to do was, do you mean, knock it out of gear or take the keys off it? Do you mean it's not hard, is it?
No,
it's pretty simple. All right, then, folks. I'll be back next Wednesday. All have a good night, and have a safe weekend, whatever you're doing. And see you next week. Catch you all later.
Cheers, Phil. Thank you.
Yeah, no worries.
Please our children riding an oversized motorbike. Children. What are you doing?